I've got the spores, the sickness. There's the twins in my brain.
Michael Vanthourenhout, Fem van Empel, Jente Michels, Zoe Backstedt, Aubin Sparfel, and Célia, Gery. They all get to wear the European stars for one season. Welcome back to Cross is Boss, the domestic podcast in which you will discover all the ins and outs of the cyclo-cross world. I'm once again joined by the domestic data analyst Dieter. Welcome, Dieter.
Oh, thank you.
Dieter, Storm Ciaran, or how to pronounce it, almost ruined the party. Did you enjoy the European Championships after all?
Yeah, a lot. Saturday sucked because I was looking forward to the races on Saturday, and then my Saturday was pretty boring. I played a lot of Chapter 1 Fortnite, but then my Sunday was pretty fun because you could watch cross all day. So yeah.
That day of the Europeans, is that one of wearing sweatpants and chilling on the couch for you?
Yeah, for me, I was actually really looking forward to it. I even woke up early Sunday. I think it was because I was looking forward to the cross because I never wake up early if I don't have anything to do.
And why were you so excited?
Men's race, I thought that would be a pretty exciting one. I thought the same about men under 23 and women under 23 and women elite were meant to be two pretty boring races, I think. So I was looking forward to the two men races. Yeah, a lot, to be honest.
All right, mate. The format of today looks like this. I've prepared 7 takes about the past cyclocross week. I'll read them one by one and you can start a discussion. Here we go with the first one. Koppenbergcross was the best race we've seen so far this season.
It wasn't super exciting, to be honest, because it was pretty clear that it was clear pretty quickly that Nijs was going to take it. So I think Maasmechelen was a pretty fun race. Beringen was pretty exciting too. I don't think Koppenberg was the most exciting one.
Maybe I should rephrase it and say it like this. The conditions at Koppenbergcross were the most epic we've seen this season. Or isn't that true either?
And it will also be the most epic conditions that we will see this season because nothing is going to top a Koppenberg like that. They had like the men elite, they ride like 30k an hour average on a flat fast course. They had like 12 kilometers an hour average speed. Yeah,
I saw a list. I saw a list of the slowest races of the last couple of seasons, and the one at Koppenberg was in there. But yeah,
it was like at the bottom of the list, and the second to last one was like 5 kilometers an hour faster. So yeah.
And then the race of next Sunday in Dendermonde was also in there, but that was extremely muddy. I think it was 2 years ago when Wout van Aert won.
Last year, I think, even. No?
I think they skipped a year at the World Cup. But however, on to take number 2. Thibaut Nys shouldn't have his eyes on the World Cup general classification.
Yeah, to be honest, I get that decision because there are like 273 World Cups this season. So riding them all is going to take a lot of your body. And Nys is like, he's 1 year older than me, so he's 21. He just gotten 21, 21 years old, I think. So I think he chooses to do Superprestige or X2O.
Well, before the season, he said he would be at the start of a lot of races, but by now he seems to have another idea. I do agree that such a busy schedule isn't that good of an idea.
Exactly. I don't get how I was thinking about it the other day, if you ride 2 cross races each week, which a lot of riders do, so through most of the week you need to recover, you can only do 1 good training throughout the week. How can you hold it for 6 months? You basically only do 1 good training every week. That's insane. I really don't get how you can do a whole winter like that.
Do you believe that his win at the Koppenbergcross was 100% the reason of his bad performance at the Europeans?
Maybe not 100%, but it's going to be a lot because he went really, really deep on Wednesday, and if you go that deep, you just aren't recovered 4 days later.
Nys announced today that he won't be at the start of a World Cup in Dendermonde on next Sunday. Do you think that's a good decision? And in your opinion,
Yes.
does Super Prestige suit him better?
Both two times yes. Dendermonde is like the worst course imaginable for Thibaut Nys, and it's also the worst course imaginable in the World Cup. And the Super Prestige, because there are, in my eyes, the Super Prestige has a lot of explosive races with a lot of short hills. I don't know if that's correct if you look at the statistics, but that's what I have in my head, and that's perfect for Nys.
I've got that feeling too that the Super Prestige rounds are a little easier. Most of the time they are a little faster as well. They aren't as tough as some of the World Cup races, indeed. So that would be better for Thibaut Nys. The fact that he hasn't recovered this week and his busy schedule, does it put his road season at risk?
Yeah, he isn't going to be in peak form in Ruta del Sol or something. Like, he should really take some rest. And yeah, he isn't going to be able to ride a full classic season or something. Like, yeah, he isn't going to do Aubin and Flanders yet, I think. But I mean, like, if he wants to try smaller classics, yeah, that's not going to work in 2024 after such a winner.
On top of that, the guy even said he hoped to be riding a Grand Tour next year.
If he takes like middle to end February, that's where we will stop his road season, take rest until middle March, and then you are in good shape again at the end of April. And I thought he said he wanted to do Vuelta, so that's
He wants to do Vuelta that close to the start of the cyclocross season. It's pretty surprising.
But this was his last full cross winter, he said. Like, he's probably going to evolve to Vanderpool, Pidcock, Van Aert cross season after this one.
Makes sense. Take number 3. Despite skipping the next 2 weekends, Fem van Empel will still win the World Cup easily.
Like this.
2 fingers in the nose.
Yeah. I read a calculation about that somewhere. Yeah, Fem van Empel is, or maybe Puk Pietersen, because she does 1-2. I think Troje is a World Cup, and she is doing it, and Fem isn't.
Yeah, but the problem is, right. That means that the points Pietersen lost at Maasmechelen, she would be able to gain them back in that one. Well, I wrote it down.
Exactly.
Skipping Dendermonde and Troyes means Van Empel misses out on 80 points. And in the current classification, she has an advantage of 25 points on Alvarado. So worst case, the gap will be 55 points after Troyes. But if you win a lot of World Cup races, that's not a major problem.
Exactly. So she's going to win it. Or Puk, maybe. But I think Fem.
Do you expect more competitive races without Van Empel? Or is Alvarado too strong for the others as well?
Kasa Sola was really close to Alvarado. If Kasa Sola started then, because for a pretty long time in the race, Kasa Sola was going faster than Alvarado, and Alvarado was properly empty at the end of the race. She barely could just jump the barriers like on her feet, and she couldn't lift her bike high enough over the barrier anymore. So she was really, really tired. And Kasa Sola has more volume, I think. Um, so maybe Kasa Sola can win a race. That would be pretty amazing, to be honest.
But is she going
I
to
think
Super
her left.
Prestige, for instance? Do you know that?
I have no idea. Which I try to search her on social media, and I try to find more about her, but I could find barely anything.
Well, you really showed me that you're an expert in cyclocross last weekend. You were one of the few people who predicted a top three for Kasa Sola. Where
Yeah,
did that
it's
come
on
from?
Maasmechelen. She had a really bad sand section, and I think she maybe flatted. Like somewhere, like when a quarter of the race was done. That happened somewhere there. For that, she was riding really good. And then the last 3 laps or something, she rode 35 seconds faster than Van Hoff and 25 seconds faster than Alvarado. Was something like that. And then I put a bet on her for the European Championships. She was 11th for podium. So I had some nice money in.
Do you have an idea which courses suit her the best?
From watching, in Maasmechelen, she wasn't. There weren't a lot of images of her, but in the European Championships there were. And on the muddy uphill, she rode faster than everyone but Fem van Empel, I think, and a lot faster. Like she rode at cadence 60, 70. You and everyone watching this should rewatch that part. She goes up there at like cadence 60, like grinding a very big gear, and she goes really fast up there. So I think like courses like Name, courses like that. But she also seems to. She's also a pretty good road rider. If I looked at pro cycling sets, and she also seems to be pretty exposed. So I think she can handle about everything, and she also seemed to be very good in the technical downhills because I saw her pulling some overtakes. She isn't afraid. Let's we can say that.
All right, I'm looking forward to follow her through the rest of the season. On to
Same.
take four. Michael Vanthourenhout's season is successful already.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Do you fully agree with that, or is one European title in a season not enough for him?
It's the biggest you can win, being Vanthourenhout, Isbit, Zweek, all those guys who aren't Vanderpool with Coke Van Aert because they aren't going to win the World Championships against those three. So it's the biggest thing they can win. So that's a good season already.
Exactly. I guess a lot
Very
of
good.
riders, a lot of current riders will be really jealous of that jersey, knowing
Yeah.
that Van Aert will probably at the Belgian Championships, and Vanderpool will also be at the Worlds. So yeah, that takes away a lot of chances for those guys. Were you
Worlds are
surprised by Van
rentabel.
Toornout?
To be honest, yes. I always hate that people are underestimating Van Torenhout that much, but now I did it myself. Like he seemed so shit on the Koppenberg. Like each time over the Koppenberg, he was almost falling over. He rode a pretty all right result, pure in technique in that race. So I didn't. He such a tough race Sunday, so such a long solo, and he just pulled it off. Yeah, insane. Didn't expect it.
And he even abandoned the race in Maasmechelen, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, yeah.
How can you explain that, being so shit uh, the past couple of races, and then all of a sudden he wins the championship?
Look at Nice wins the Koppenberg like this, and 4 days later he abandons European. So yeah, it can happen. Michael was also sick, so I think he also, from what I read, that he tried to how do I say like get that rating back in that he missed due to being sick, and that maybe cost him in Maasmechelen. Then he took some good rest before Koppenberg, and he was a bit better again. And I think he was fully recovered at the Europeans because they are really good. I think if they rode the whole race on one bike and you could get the power file from Vanthourenhout, that's a really impressive one from European Championships.
Take number 5. Cameron Mason will take a victory before the end of 2023.
Dendermonde maybe? Dendermonde has to be Dendermonde or Dublin then.
Well,
Or
he joined us. He joined us last week, and he said he needs a course with big efforts of around 1 minute, if I recall correctly. Dendermonde might be muddy, so that's an advantage for him. But is it hard enough?
Yeah, because he can ride so smooth through the mud, even while being in the low 60 kilos. And you have those long efforts in Dendermonde because it's bagger for the whole day. So but I don't know. It could be, to be honest. We could. I can see him winning Sunday, and Dublin is even better, I think. And then if it rains a lot in Nade, are Vanderpool, Van Aert, or Pidcock riding Nade? No, that's also possible. But then it has to rain a lot.
We don't know about Van Aert and Pidcock, but Vanderpool he starts in Mol the 22nd of December.
But when is Nade?
Namen is I think 2nd or 3rd week of December.
That's dangerous for Pidcock or Van Aert, and maybe they ride there. Yeah, then it's not happening.
Dieter, you predicted the European Championships on Twitter for Domestique. You gave stars to all men elite favorites. You only gave 1 star to Cameron Mason, so you must be surprised after last Sunday.
Everywhere I was reading, even if it rains a lot, the course isn't going to be super muddy. It's not going to be a hard course. It's always going to be a fast course. It rained so much on Sunday that at the end they had like 20 kilometers average. If I knew the course was like that, I would have given Cameron 2 stars. So definitely not in my top 3. But I made the stars with the expectation that it wasn't going to be super muddy. It sounds like a lot of excuses that I know it. I also wouldn't have put Van der Haar at the top then if I knew it was going to be muddy. So
Mason only finished 7 seconds behind Michael Vanthourenhout. What was the difference between the two of them?
I think Mason was better than Vanthourenhout, to be honest.
Where did he lose it?
When the Dutch were being donkeys and when they gifted Vanthourenhout 20 seconds. No, to be honest, it was a tough situation for the Dutch because Nieuwenhuis was trying to control it, but he then fled it. So they had no one near the lead, and the Belgians blocked the whole thing. So Vanthourenhout was really lucky, to be honest, also.
On to take 6. Eli Isbit can't be happy with his start of the cyclocross season.
He is in good form. He's riding podiums consistently before the Europeans. At the Europeans, he fled it all. Otherwise, he would have also podiumed, I think. Yeah. So,
Isbit won 2 of his 8 races, both Superprestige rounds at Overijse and Ruddervoorde, but I can't imagine that he didn't hope for more before the season really started. Also, the Europeans were quite disappointing for Isbit before the race started. And in the interviews in other races, he always said, I'm not the favorite. He pointed towards Thibaut Nys, for instance. But what was he, 6th?
Yes, I think.
Yeah, it's not good enough. Next Sunday, there's the World Cup in Dendermonde. The big man behind that race is the team manager of Isbit, Jurgen Mettepenningen. Michael Vanthourenhout and Isbit, they really can't afford to lose that one.
True. Michael can. he has just gotten European champ. But yeah, Isbit is really not the guy for that course. He's everything but the right type for that course. Um, and Sveek doesn't really love it either, but he has more power. Like he's a block of muscles on the bike. So yeah.
Well, my last take was about Laurent Sweeck. I'd written down Laurent Sweeck will be close to a win next weekend.
Yeah, he's going to win in Niel.
He already won twice there, so that course really suit him.
Yeah, I rewatched the edition of last year today. The sand pit like 1 minute or even less than a minute before the finish line. So yeah, that's perfect.
One more question about Mathieu Vanderpool. He announced his schedule last week. He returns to the field in Mol on December 22nd, and his journey will end at the World Championships in Tabor on February the 4th. What's your opinion on his program?
Perfect, I think. While doing such a busy road program and doing it pretty damn good, he still rides a lot of cross races, but in a way that he can put some big road training blocks between them, so we can start the road season off pretty early in pretty good form. So I think it's a close to perfect program, to be honest, and that he's starting in Mol is even more amazing because I'm going to Mol. So yeah.
All right, cross is boss. We'll have a domestique in the field. Dieter, are there any
Yes.
other conclusions you want to draw before ending this episode?
Zweek is going to win in Niel. Isbit isn't going to win in Dendermonde. Vanderpool is going to become world champion in Tabor. I'm also already going to say that. And Mason is going to win either Dublin, Dendermonde, or Naam.
All right, that's a wrap for this week's Cross is Boss episode. Thank you for joining, Dieter, and thanks to the audience for listening. If you enjoyed this one, consider subscribing and see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I've got the spots, the